Welcome to Breathe, Love, Parent, the Shine On podcast. I'm your host, Rach, yoga teacher, natural mama, and passionate guide in all things nervous system and connection. This is your space for honest conversations, emotional wellbeing tools, and mindful parenting insights. Whether you're in the thick of meltdowns or seeking a moment of calm, you belong here. Let's take a breath together and begin. Hello, wonderful people, and welcome back to the Shine On podcast, where we explore the micro moments of joy, mindfulness, and well-being that support our parenting journey. I'm Rachel, a stay-at-home mum to two little ones under 3, and today's episode is all about something I wish more parents knew. Joy doesn't have to be loud, because let's face it, parenting is overstimulating enough. There are days when we crave quiet, calm, and just a moment to think and catch our breath. In those moments, joy might not look like big belly laughs or glitter-filled dance parties or turning out all the dress ups. It might look like soft eye contact, like shared silence, like a cozy routine that holds you together when everything feels too much. Today, I want to reframe what joy means for the overwhelmed, sleep-deprived parent. And I want to show you how small, grounding moments of joy are not only valid, they are vital. And I'm sharing this coming from firsthand experience, having just gone through the 8 to 10 month regression with my youngest whilst managing a toddler, 2.5, who's still going through their own developmental journey. And this was me, overwhelmed, sleep deprived. I hadn't slept a full night's sleep for about 12 months, as I also had pregnancy insomnia, and it all just felt too much. So let's talk about what is joy. Joy is often confused with excitement. But joy, especially in this season of life, is more like a warm hum in the background. It's the comfort of a hot drink you didn't forget. It's noticing your baby's breath on your chest. It's a quiet, steady presence. And this kind of joy, the soft, quiet kind, is available to you right now. It doesn't require a perfectly clean house or a break from the kids. It requires a shift in perspective. And I'm also saying this with love and fully knowing what that sounds like when you are an overwhelmed, overstimulated, sleep deprived parent who's at the end of their tether. The pressure to perform joy. Oh my gosh. One of the things that I have done within this second round of parenting is actually step away from social media because I felt like there was this expectation to perform and be this joyful, bubbly mum who has all the things prepared. And, I basically ran my own messy place sensory daycare, and it just became too much comparison for me. And I'm wondering if you're noticing this too. And if you're not, then that's great. But I'm speaking to the people that, they, I get you. Like, we live in a world that often equates joy with more fun, more noise, more activities, more mess, more. But for many of us, more isn't the answer, especially when our days are filled with competing priorities and constant care. Parents often tell me that they feel like they're not doing joy right because it doesn't feel big or loud or extravagant or necessarily something that they want to post online. And that's why this episode is your gentle permission slip to stop performing joy and start experiencing it. And I want to talk to you about time affluence and creating space for quiet joy. So I recently revisited some content from the Yale Science of Wellbeing for Parents, and one idea really struck me, and it was about time affluence. So, time affluence is a subjective sense that you have enough time for what matters. It's the opposite of time famine, which so many of us live in, which is that sense of we don't have enough time. So, research shows that when we feel time affluent, we become happier, kinder, more present, and more connected to our loved ones. So, the simple thought of feeling like you have enough time can completely change your perspective and therefore change your outlook and has the ability to actually change the way you think and feel about time in your life, which is crazy. That just blows my mind. So, when we're not rushed, we're more likely to notice those micro moments of joy. Like, for example, your toddler's giggle, or the way your baby touches your face, or how the afternoon sun hits your kitchen sink. And I'm laughing because, golden hour, which is just the most spectacular time of the day to photograph your children or anything in general. Doesn't have to be kids. But I'm just thinking back to a recent time where I was like, oh my gosh, the sunset golden hour. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then golden hour is just highlighting along my open glass pane windows all the little moments of childhood kisses and hands all over the window. And I'm just like, oh, golden hour. Thanks for keeping it real. I'm sure you can probably relate to that as well. Oh gosh, but it's joy, right? So it's laughing at that instead of stepping into, oh my gosh, I need to clean my windows or, oh, look at this mess. It's bless this mess. And how wonderful are those little reminders of having little people in your home? So, how do we create more time affluence? Okay. Firstly, we prioritize it. Yeah, I know, mind blowing. So we choose to say no to one more task. We carve out 3 minutes of quiet, even if it's while the kettle boils, because those are small choices, right? They build into a calmer life. And one of the most fascinating things for me that I've discovered, similar to gratitude, is when we start to notice or create space for certain things. So, for example, when I step into gratitude and I notice my abundance or I notice moments of being in the flowing mother, then I start to see more examples of that. Whether it's even noticing how I'm supported in my motherhood journey, I start to notice how supported I am, how abundant I am, how much joy I am experiencing day to day, moment to moment in my life. And when we are aware of that, our brain starts scanning our environments to find more examples of that belief, of that idea. And this works in a positive and negative way. If we constantly are looking at time famine, noticing I don't have enough time, your brain and therefore your life will create that identity, will create that reality. But when we step into I have time or I prioritize, I choose, you'll be amazed at how life opens up for this. So, whether you're stepping into more joy, you're noticing more joy in your parenting, you're becoming really aware and feeling and sensing and therefore embodying joy in the body, you then start to notice it and find more of it. So, I just found that really interesting and wanted to share that with you. And I wonder if you were to choose to take the sharing from this episode and apply it into your life, I'd be very interested to know how much time opens up, how much space opens up, and therefore how much joy you can create. And so if you do follow on with this, please, please, please let me know, because that would just make me so happy to know how this lands with you, because it's changed my life and it's changed the way I parent, and therefore it's changed how I show up in the world. And this leads me to something called the emotional contagion and the emotional contagion of joy. So here's the real beautiful truth. When we show up for ourselves with presence, joy, and calm, our children feel it. They certainly do, and they respond to that. So we know from research on emotional contagion that our kids catch our emotional states. Okay, so emotional contagion is like the contagious emotion. So if you're in a shitty mood, which we all do, no, there is no such thing as the perfect parent. It doesn't exist. And if you think you are, I won't go there actually. You're entitled to your own opinions. However, when you're in a shitty mood, your children will be, you might notice they're in a shitty mood. When you come in with excitement, they get excited because they're regulating with you. You're co regulating together. So when we allow ourselves to slow down, to breathe, to find a moment of delight in the mundane, they learn to do that too. So this doesn't mean you have to be cheerful all the time. It just means you begin to model what it looks like to return to center, to regulate, and to access joy without needing anything external. Okay? So I want you to notice, like the next time you're feeling irritated, notice how the kids respond to that. Become aware of when they're having a tantrum, what your emotional state has been leading into that because they're feeding off you. You know, we co regulate in relationship or we regulate in relationship with one another. So we have the power, the significant role in our children's lives to show up with authenticity, but be really aware of how we're feeling and how that impacts and trickles onto the family unit. Now, I can speak from experience when I've been in like a crummy mood and, let's just say for the example, I've woken up and I'm just in a shitty mood. Like that happens, right? We don't have to go into the story of why, but sometimes we just wake up in a shitty mood. So if I come down and like my family's having breakfast and they're all fine, and then I walk in and I'm like, got my grumpy pants on, I can notice almost instantly the shift. And sometimes my husband will just be like, hey, go check yourself. Like, we're having a good time and get out of here. Like, go do what you need to do to regulate and calm down because, like, this is not the vibe. Yeah, so that is an example of when I can see how I've negatively impacted. But then, there's also the example of like when you come in like elated and an example of I recently caught up with a good friend of mine who just lights me up. You know those people, your soul people where you're like, I haven't seen her in person for like, oh my goodness, I reckon 4 years because yeah, it would have been 4 years because her daughter's nearly 4 now. And yeah, we just like hit it off and like we're talking about our goals, what we're working on, our dreams, what we're manifesting. And it just lit me up so much that I came home and my cup was like overflowing. It wasn't just full, it was just like overflowing. And I felt so connected to myself. And there was just such a beautiful harmony throughout the family was all like, high vibing or just in a state of connection and joy. And yeah, these are just two examples of emotional contagion. So let's return. I love sharing this. I'm actually getting really into doing my solo episodes with you guys. Anyway, little side note there. Let's talk about that fun doesn't always look like playgrounds and play dates. Okay. So according to the research, true fun has 3 components: connection with others or with ourselves, playfulness, so doing something for the joy of it, and flow. So flow is when we're being immersed in the moment. So quiet joy can include all 3. Reading a book while your baby naps, moving your body in the early morning before the house wakes, rolling on your favorite Shine On Natural essential oils as you ground your feet to the earth. Connection, playfulness, flow. So these moments matter. They build resilience. They make you more patient, more available, but most importantly, more you. And let's not forget the power of modeling. By taking these moments for yourself, You are modeling nervous system regulation. You are modeling connection. You are modeling how you want your children to show up in the world. And that's no small feat at all. All right, let's bring it down and let's take a practice together. So if you're listening now, I invite you to pause, notice your breath, notice your feet, notice what you're doing. This is your micro moment. Joy is here. It doesn't have to be loud. And in claiming that joy, you're giving your children permission to find their joy too. Let's take one breath to close this off. Inhaling deeply, exhaling fully. Now you can pause the podcast. You can go back to this and repeat it if you want. Take as much time as you need. Hey, no one's going to know if you're continuing to listen to me or not. You can just pause or stop the podcast when you're ready and just keep your little earphones in. Keep noticing. Bring the joy into your awareness. And I think that really sums it up. I'm keeping the episodes short because, who has time for hours of episodes? I want you to be able to listen. I want you to be able to apply something to your life. I don't expect you to spend hours with me. And let's be honest, I don't have hours to spend with you. Not that I don't love you. I think you're amazing. But let's be realistic. We're parents. We don't have, we don't, we don't have hours and hours to talk about these things, although I wish I did because I really enjoy it. Anyway, thanks for tuning into Breathe, Laugh, Parent, the Shine On podcast. If this episode resonated with you, I would love, 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 love if you could share it with another parent who might need to hear it today. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify so you never miss an episode, or wherever you're listening, YouTube or all the other ones that are popping up. And until next time, stay soft, stay grounded, and keep shining. Thank you for joining me on Breathe, Laugh, Parent. If this episode brought you a moment of calm or connection, please share it with a fellow mama. Subscribe on your favourite platform or visit shineom.com.au/podcast for more. Until next time, keep breathing, laughing, and parenting with heart. The information shared on Breathe, Laugh, Parent, the Shine On podcast is for general educational and inspirational purposes only. It is not medical, therapeutic, or professional advice and should not be relied on as such. Always consult a qualified health or parenting professional for support tailored to your individual needs. Shine On and its guests disclaim any liability for decisions made based on this content.